What's up, y'all? We're in the Dominican Republic, and my boy Bobby just asked me to speak to his real estate office, so sit back, relax, and enjoy the episode. Let's go.
Today we have a special guest. It's a friend of mine. It's also a client of ours, and this gentleman over here has volunteered his time to come and share with us some of the skills that are going to help you guys develop your business, help you guys make more commissions, help you guys get better quality listings, help you guys, take your business to the next step. This gentleman has coached thousands of other coaches and helped them develop their business. So please, everyone, let's give a round of applause to Brian.
I got bad news. Bobby thinks I'm going to teach you skills, but I'm not. But I'm going to read your mission statement because I read it when I came in and I thought it was cool. It's going to tie into what I'm going to talk about today. So it says, Realtor DR to become the preferred choice for buying, selling real estate in the North Coast Dominican by staying up to date with technology, offering outstanding service to all shareholders, and showcasing proficiency. We will stay true to our vision. So my talk today is going to be a little bit different, and I want to do a little bit of an intro because a lot of you guys don't know who I am, which is cool. So my name is Brian Mark. I am a business owner. I wasn't going to tell you guys how much money I made because it really doesn't matter, but I think in this office it does because I think you guys like making money. So I made $20 million in sales in the last 5 years. That's my beautiful wife back there. Hi, babe. Hi. That's my daughter right there. Say hi, Haley. Hi. And that's my videographer. He's a vegan. Say hi, Nick. So I'm a husband, father, business owner, but most of all, I'm competitive. I'm very competitive. I've been competitive my whole life, and I feel like I was always the last guy picked in sports. You know, the girl didn't want me, like I was overweight. Mom kicked me out when I was 8, didn't meet my dad until I was 26. So I always felt like the guy that had something to prove, you know? Like I had this chip on my shoulder. I had something to prove. And so being a very competitive person, every business that I've ever gotten into, I wanted to be the very best. Like my name needed to be on the wall. I needed to have one of those plaques. Like I was that guy, every business. So me and Josie were actually in business. We had a business called Aesthetic Nation. And whether or not you liked our business back in Calgary, everybody knew who we were, everybody. So it's like, that's the kind of energy that you need to be successful. I started business coaching back in 2018. And before, I literally started my podcast on day 1. And the first thing I ever said when I started my podcast is, we are the #1 business coaching program for online coaches on the planet. #1. And I said that from day 1. And it's been 5 years, and now we are the best. We are #1. We have worked with over 5,000 students. We've got 50 employees. We've got clients from all around the world. When you say it and you speak it, it becomes your reality. Now you gotta be the best. Who here wants to be the best? Raise your hand. Oh man, everybody's hand should be up. This is how you guys need to view your business. There's Realtor, DR, right? And then there's everybody else. You guys are up here, and then there's everybody else. That's your mindset when you're going into selling. You guys should be pissed off when somebody buys a house from somebody else. That's like the mentality I play with. And so I got a funny story for you guys. So my best friend, he wanted to buy a house in the Dominican. So he came to me, he's like, dude, I'm thinking about buying a house in the DR. He's like, who should I go to? Who should I go to? Are you guys serious? That doesn't piss you off? He doesn't even know who to go to. He doesn't know who to go to. On your wall, it says that you're the best in the DR. And my boy, who's a millionaire, who wants to buy a house in the DR, doesn't know who to go to. That should piss you off. You guys said you want more qualified buyers. Why aren't you hunting? Why don't you go on all in? Okay, so we got 3 things, right? I'm gonna erase, I'm gonna do a bunch of chicken scratch for you guys today. So we got Realtor DR, and then everybody else, I'm gonna erase their name because it's irrelevant. So there's personal, there's professional, then there's collaborative. So this is you guys as a team. This is a collaborative over here. I got chicken scratch, but you guys will get the base idea. It's all good. Personal, professional, and collaborative. In order for you guys to be the very best, you can't be the very best if you're showing up as a half-ass version of you. I'm gonna ask you guys a question. I want you guys to give me an honest answer. Raise your hand if you've been showing up as your very best for the last 6 months. And wait. Before you raise your hand, I'm talking about you don't fucking sleep in. You go to the gym 5 times a week. You're working on your physical and your mental health. You leave your shit at the door. You're not late to meetings. You follow up on time. You make every call. You don't fucking miss. Raise your hand if that's been you in the last 6 months. I'm gonna say something that's gonna trigger you. You should be embarrassed. Straight up. I'm gonna tell you why. Because let's say you're showing up as 30% of you. You guys might not like me after this, but that's okay. 30% of you, right? Okay, that's cool. So if you're showing up in your personal health, your fitness, whatever, as a 30% version of you, it's impossible for you to bring 100% of you to the office, am I right? It's impossible. You just won't do it. You're sleeping in, you're drinking every weekend, you're not following up with prospects, you're not making your calls, you're supposed to make 100 calls and you make 50 every day. It's impossible for you to show up at the office as a 100% version of you, okay? And you guys might not think that's a big deal because it's just you, right? And if you sell 1 house every 2 months, you make enough money to survive in the Dominican. I found out from Bobby, it's like 10K if you guys sell a house. Are you fucking crazy? That is nuts, dude. What other career are you guys gonna find in the DR where you're gonna make 10K from one sale? That's it. But we're not doing that. We're not selling drugs. We ain't about that life, okay? We ain't about that life. We ain't about that life. Yo, I'm telling you, what other career could you make $10,000 from one sale? Tell me, in the DR. Man, you guys have an opportunity. And you might not think it's a big deal because if you're just thinking about you and like, let's be honest, you make one sale, it's easy to get complacent. You don't need to make your calls. You don't need to follow up. You're good. How many of you guys have kids? Raise your hand. Okay. Now let's have a conversation about this. Would you tell your kid to show up as 30% version of them? To their school, to their basketball practice, baseball? You would never tell them, but guess what? They're watching you. And so everything that you do, your kid is learning from you. And whether or not you like it, you're imprinting your habits on your children. It's my daughter right there. How old are you, Haley? I'm 15. Okay, how many jobs do you have? 2? Cool. And what grade are you supposed to be in? What grade are you actually in? And what are your grades in school? 90% on everything. And what time do you go to the gym with me and Kirsten every day? 4 a.m. That's the standard in my house. What's the standard in your house? What's the standard in your house? In your house. That's the standard. That's how we show up. It's like I show up every day as 100% of me because I know that she's watching me. And it started out like, man, I used to be a drug addict. So like I had this like, when I say I'm not about that life, I used to be about that life. So I started out as a drug addict. And like for me to get clean and sober, like I hated myself, to be completely honest with you. And so in order for me to show up as 100% version of me and like start to change my life, like I couldn't do it for me because I didn't really like me. But my grandma, she took me in when I was an addict. And I remember walking in, there was one day I got fired from all my jobs, walked into the trailer park. She was like sitting there at 3 o'clock in the morning. She looked at me in my eyes. I looked at her. I realized in that moment I was an addict. I broke down into tears. I collapsed on her couch. I started crying. She didn't ask me what was wrong. She didn't shame me, whatever. She just went into her room. She grabbed a Bible. She came out. She held my hand. She read me the Bible and she cried with me. And in that moment, that was 11 years ago, I was like, I might not, love myself enough to show up as 100% version of myself, but I love my grandma enough to show up as 100% version of myself. So I started showing up for her. So if you can't show up for you, and for whatever reason you're not motivated for you, show up for your kids, because your kids are watching. And every single thing that you do is gonna impact them, whether or not you want it to. So you gotta show up as 100% version of you, because if you show up as 100% version of you, then you're gonna be bringing a lot more to the office. 100% version of you in the office. You guys wanna know why Josie sold me? Because she was fucking stoked in the DR, dude. We didn't even wanna buy a house. Now we have a fucking house in the DR, okay? We didn't even wanna buy a house. I was like, just take me on a tour and show me what you do just for fun, okay? So we like walk into a couple of houses and it's like whatever, and she was like stoked. She's like, the Dominican is the place you want to be. Like this is the fastest growing real estate market. Like you blah, 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 blah. She was like pumped, she was stoked. And I was like, man, you're so stoked. Like I gotta be stoked for this shit too. I'm like, I didn't even want to buy a fucking house, but like I'm buying a fucking house today. Let's go. Kirsten didn't like, but we're not talking about that. So listen, there's the personal, right? Like you guys gotta start showing up, man. Like you guys got wake up early, take care of your fucking health, go to the gym, work on your mindset. And if you are like quote unquote going to the gym, go a little bit harder. Hire a personal trainer. You guys are making money, dude. Hire a nutritionist. Get in great shape so that when you meet your potential prospect, your customer, whatever, they can feel your energy. Like this is real, you guys feel it. I'm not faking this. This is who I am, this is how I show up. So when you meet your prospect, your customer, whatever it is, buyer, seller, whatever, like they gotta feel you. You gotta be like, oh, this girl's like on one, all right. It's a different energy now. We're having a different conversation versus you show up, you're low energy, lethargic, you don't really care. Maybe you relate to the appointment, maybe you forgot to follow up. It's a different energy, different sales conversation. And you guys might not think that matters, but the difference between somebody buying a house from you and somebody else is this, how they felt in that conversation. Like, oh, the numbers make sense, in both parties, but I just like this guy a little bit more. So I'm just gonna go over here. 100% version of you, which means that you show up at the office as 100%. And I want you guys to write this down. What's that extra 10%? I could come here and I could talk about sales, which if you guys follow me on Instagram, shameless plug, @TheRealBrianMark. I got a lot of sales stuff, but I could come here, I could talk about sales, and it doesn't matter. Because if you don't show up with that extra 10%, with that hunger, that desire, that drive to learn something every day and then apply it, it doesn't matter. So me coming here and talking about skills is irrelevant, because if you don't have the intense desire to do something different, to be more, to be the best in the DR, it's irrelevant. So my question for you, and this should be your guys' question for yourself, is like, how do you show up with an extra 10% this week? That should be the conversation that you guys have when I leave this office. How are you gonna show up with an extra 10% this week? How are you gonna show up with an extra 10% this week? How are you gonna show up with an extra 10% this week? That's the professional. And then that's the conversation. And if you guys keep showing, if everybody in this office shows up with an extra 10%, guess what happens? Collectively, we become the best. And guess what, guys, there's gonna be some of you when I leave this office, you're like, that guy was an idiot. I get it. And there's gonna be one or two of you that's like, yo, I'm going all in. And that's all it takes, dude. All it takes is one or two people in this office to raise the energy and raise the standard of what's possible. Because you start seeing one homie that was maybe not performing as well, all of a sudden starts becoming a top performer. That changes the energy of everybody in this room. So all it's gonna take is one of you. You guys gotta be pissed off that Cole didn't even know about you. Cole's a multimillionaire. You want more qualified buyers, sellers, etc. He's a multimillionaire. He didn't even know about you. That should piss you off. So collectively, collaboratively, we will get better when all of us make the decision to level up. We can't be showing up as 30% of us, because if we show up as 30% of us here, maybe we're 70% in the office because we're a gangster. That means collaboratively, the max we can provide is like 40 to 50%. You can't do that. It's like every single day we've got to be challenging ourselves to be better physically. Like I wake up at 5 o'clock, I go to the gym every morning before I start my day. And I'm not trying to brag or flex on you guys. I'm just telling you that like, I'm not gonna show up to this office and speak to Bobby's people as not the best version of me. So how are you gonna show up for your prospects today? And like, you guys need to show up with energy, man. You need to show up with passion. Because like, this is the best. Realtor DR, there's not a lot of like, that's a really cool fucking name. I don't know if you guys know that. That's like the name. I wanna buy real estate in the DR. The Google Realtor DR pops up, bam. You guys have the thing. And so the fact that you're not the best, not everybody knows about you should upset you. So how can you show up with 10% more energy, 10% more effort? Because 30% is no longer acceptable. 40% is no longer acceptable. We need to find a new level, personally, professionally, and then collectively. And collectively, it's like, yo, let's set some new goals, man. Like as an office, let's get excited about the goals. Let's not set our goals based on externals. Like I want better buyers or better sellers. When he asks you what you want, it should be like, yo, I want to show up more hungry today. I want to make 10 more calls today. I want to be excited when I pick up the phone today. I'm going to close a deal today. I'm gonna show up with energy today. Like everything that has to do with me, everything that I have full control over. Because unless you take control over your own life, your own psyche, then you're just at the whim. You get a great buyer, ooh, you sold a house, congratulations. It was a fucking layup. It's like, I'm more impressed when you can take somebody that didn't wanna buy, like me, and fucking sell me a $500,000 mansion. I didn't wanna buy. That's impressive. Guys, one more thing, okay? One more thing. Who here values everybody else in this office? Raise your hand. That's why you guys should do it. You should show up better because you value him. You should show up with more energy because you value her. You guys should be competitive with each other in like a friendly way, right? But like if you show up 10% better, then the man or woman next to you is gonna show up better and they're gonna be able to provide for their kids. I know you guys are growing, but like don't just let it be like slow. Like if all of you guys in this office got intentional and brought your energy together and your passion together, man, you guys could double in size by next year, all right? Do it for the man or woman next to you. If you're not gonna do it for yourself, if you're not gonna do it for your kids, do it for the people in this office. Now that's it, that's all I got. Yeah.
All right, thank you for setting the
Thanks,
bar high
bro.
for us. I
Appreciate
appreciate it. And guys, it better hurt. It better hurt when someone buys a house from someone else or you have a friend that goes somewhere else. It doesn't come to us first because it hurts me. It hurts me. So challenge accepted.
Cool. Thank you guys. Have a good day. Thanks for having me.